Hey everyone, Mandy Ray of Ecstatic Astrology here for the new moon in Cancer plus the forecast for the next couple of weeks. And it's a full couple of weeks, astrologically speaking, and it's going to be pretty busy. So I'm actually excited to dig into it. And I'm sorry I didn't do a full moon in Capricorn video. I was out of town, couldn't make it work. So many reasons why. I eventually gave up, especially after trying to record on the balcony of the place I was staying. And the guy underneath me was enjoying recreational activities and coughing every 5 seconds. So I just gave up. And it was Trines Jupiter. It was kind of a good feeling full moon, I think. I hope you guys had a good full moon, 4th of July as well. I always feel like I'm leaving people without directions, though, if I skip a newer full moon video. So apologies. This new moon in Cancer is a good place to start, though, after taking a break, because the full moon in Capricorn that we just had was kind of feel good. But now we're coming into some territory that there's some, it's turbulent, not necessarily in a bad way, but it can be stressful, some of it. Some of it's going to be good. Some of it's going to be like rebranding. Some of it's going to be like, oh, this self-care thing, that's the Cancer thing that's going on. But it is day to day changing, and there's something happening every day. So here we go. All right, let's start with today. The new moon in Cancer happened about noon today. I like to record my videos at night, so you're getting this in the evening. I'm definitely, I feel like more of a night owl myself. Cancer is about emotions. It's about how you feel. It's about emotional security, how you nurture yourself, your family. Cancer is associated with mothering and self-care and all of these really watery things, right? The movement of emotion. It's a cardinal water sign. So things happen emotionally with Cancer placements. Um, and it is sextile to Uranus. Uranus is change, it is upheaval, it can be revolution and rebellion and freedom. The sextile indicates opportunity, though. So this is an opportunity to free yourself from something and in order to feel better about life. And I think that can be extremely significant with Uranus and Taurus, because Taurus is a fixed earth sign. It's where we kind of are firm about things. It's our values, it's comfort. Cancer and Taurus are probably the two top. What is my comfort signs? Taurus is like what feels good on my body, material things, it's values, it's what I like, it's what I want to get monetarily speaking, it's my self worth. That's where Uranus is. Our values have been undergoing a change with Uranus and Taurus. So have the places that we've been fixed, especially in our comfort zones. All of that's undergoing a little bit of a shift with Uranus there. The new moon in Cancer is also about comfort, but it's more like emotional comfort. It could be similar, though. What makes me feel good, but what makes me feel loved, what makes me feel cared for, and how do I care for others? And what place in my life am I nurturing? Because it's different for everyone, right? Depending on your rising sign. I'm a Cancer rising. This new moon is in my first house. That's me, myself, who I am, what I need, my identity. Uranus is in my 11th house. That is my network, my large groups that I am involved with. And do I need to adjust perhaps how I'm taking care of myself based on my goals? That's also an 11th house thing. So you can see, knowing your rising sign will help you figure out exactly what this new moon is kind of writing into reality for you. I mean, you control it, but there is the page is there for you to write on. That's like the new moon. It's like, okay, here's a blank page and a prompt. I want you to write about self-care and think about it this way, and what you like to nurture, what makes you feel comfortable. And indeed, with Uranus and Taurus, the same thing. How are your values changing? How do those two things work together? The sextile is opportunity. It's great. So there is an opportunity to change something to maybe feel more comfortable about it. Or maybe to say, okay, you know what, this thing has changed. So I need to figure out how I nurture myself whenever I am letting people know that something's changed for me, how others around me make me feel emotionally secure. All of that's wrapped up into this new moon. The other thing is it's trine to Neptune. Neptune is dreams. Neptune is the ether. It's the muses, and it's in Pisces. It can also be delusion. So that's something to just keep in mind. Neptune can be fog, especially in Pisces, and maybe confusion sometimes. But the trine indicates that it's helping, that it's supportive. So we've got Neptune there, trining the new moon, giving us insight into something that we may not otherwise imagine for ourselves or see or feel. And it feels very mystical with the new moon trine to Neptune, sextile to Uranus. Both Neptune and Uranus have this kind of, we're going to flip the script, reality seems a little strange kind of situation. So Cancer being such a personal sign, Taurus being such a personal sign, but Pisces being such a whoa, outer sign where things just don't have boundaries, all of that working together feels like we may be morphing into something a little different during this new moon. So your intentions, if you're setting them, go watch the rising sign videos, go find out. And you can also watch for your sun sign. It's not just rising sign. I will have those on separate videos though. So you can get a little more detailed about exactly what cycle is starting for you right now. I think I just gave Cancer risings a hint though, because I am one. So the other thing is that during this new moon, Mercury is pretty close to square Jupiter. So that can indicate maybe speaking your mind, or deciding to go all in, especially with communication where that's concerned. Mercury is in Leo right now. It's at 12 degrees square to Jupiter at, I want to say 12 or 11 degrees of Taurus. So this is highlighting something that's also coming up this week, which is Venus retrograde in Leo. So Mercury's there, Mercury squaring Jupiter, drawing attention to the Leo-Taurus dynamic that's going on. Leo is about our hearts. Leo is about creativity. It's about our inner child. Taurus is about our fixed values. And when you have Mercury wanting to be creative and playful square to Jupiter, which is in Taurus, sometimes people just go overboard and do more than they should, say more than they should with Mercury and Leo. So that's all right now at the new moon. And now we can get into what's coming up. So, oh yeah, I didn't say general intentions. Let's say general intentions, not based on rising sign. With Cancer, especially with Uranus and Neptune in the mix, this is how can I emotionally, I would say, almost process the changes that we've gone through. Uranus has been doing a lot of work there. Jupiter's in Taurus now. Neptune in Pisces is this ability to dissolve something. So maybe it's also this moment where you can let go and free yourself from something that allows you more emotional freedom. That's kind of how I see this new moon. Maybe also a greater awareness of how you're taking care of yourself, and even family dynamics with it being Cancer. Cancer is about tradition, and I think the Sabian symbol for this new moon, it focuses on tradition. And maybe with the sextile to Uranus, it's like, yes, tradition, but also innovation. Yes, tradition, but also imagination and compassion with the trine to Neptune. So there's my new moon spiel. I want to show you guys the chart because there's so much more coming up. Let me get to here, and I'm going to share this chart because I do like to share it with you guys so that you can see what date I'm looking at. And I like to draw on the chart and just, doodle and all that stuff. Okay, so here we go. Got my big head up here on screen. Uh-oh, I just clicked onto my budget. I hope that didn't show. That would be embarrassing. You'd see a large budget for cats in there. All right, so speaking of budget, this is Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus that I'm talking about, interacting with everything in Leo. There's Venus, there's Mercury. Those two are square. That's tension. That's really kind of what's going to dominate coming up shortly. Other things, though, it's so mixed. It's so many things that I have to take this almost day by day, hour by hour. So you have Uranus and Jupiter and Taurus. You've got Mercury and Venus and Leo. Mercury there is square to Jupiter. It's just past its exact square. So it's separating. So that square is not as like, In fact, if you said something you didn't mean, you probably said it yesterday on the 16th, or early this morning, one of the two. So you've got that tense dynamic, but then you also have the dynamic of the sextile with the new moon, which is supportive. So it does indicate something freeing going on right now. There's the sextile of the new moon in Cancer to Uranus and Taurus. And then here's the trine to Neptune. So it's making this really nice triangle here all the time in astrology. If you see a triangle, it's supportive, it's flowing. That doesn't mean it's always great, because you can kind of get stuck in a feedback loop. It's not so bad, but sometimes it's nice to have the squares like Mercury square Jupiter to kind of keep things moving along. Okay, so when we move on from here, this is when stuff starts getting juicy. First of all, Venus is at 28 degrees. It's going to retrograde at 28 degrees. It is at its retrograde degree. That's number one. Venus is almost standing still. In fact, it goes retrograde July 22nd. So it's only moving, it's inching forward day by day until the 22nd. And it looks like it turns around in the sky. It doesn't actually do that, but it looks like it. So that's one of the big things dominating this week. And then subsequently the squares to Taurus, because Venus will retrograde, square Uranus, it'll square Jupiter a second time. And then when it goes back direct, it'll square it a third time. So that is going to hold steady at least through September, at least through late September. Okay, so we'll be going over that in the rising sign videos for sure. This is the need to rethink, maybe rebrand our own creativity, look at our own desires. It's self-love. It's self-love more than a lot of other transits. Venus retrograde is already like, let's turn this Venus energy, which is love and abundance, and it's not as much abundance as Jupiter, but it's definitely abundance in the material sense. Venus is a benefic. It is beauty, it's aesthetics, it's creativity, but a retrograde is like, let's turn that inward a little bit. Let's check on what we love, what we like, what feels good. Okay, but then you've got Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus changing up your values. So maybe this Venus retrograde is a chance to say, okay, I've got to make these two meet in the middle. My values have changed. This branding is not working. My finances have changed. This job isn't working. Whatever the case may be, this is a reevaluation period. And it starts pretty much right now. I mean, it really, really kicks up during the retrograde period, which is July 22nd through, I want to say September 4th. Don't quote me on that last date. But it's definitely through early September. That's going to be a period of time that we do this constantly, okay? So that's number one. Number two, big story. And all of this, I haven't even moved the chart a day. We're here right now. This is July 17th. This is all going on right here at this new moon. The other thing is the nodes, which are the eclipse points, have officially moved into Libra and Aries. You can see they go backwards through the zodiac. So the north node is at 29 degrees 57 minutes of Aries. The south node, which is the tail of the dragon, kind of the karmic past, the place you're separating from, is in Libra. Okay, this is adding nuance to this moment in time, because the south node in Libra indicates, where do we need to look at past patterns, even past life patterns, if you subscribe to past lives, in our relationships, in the way we love, in the way we are fair, in the way we are just, in all of the Libra topics, and the things that are aesthetically pleasing to us. Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus is going retrograde. So this is, I mean, a big kickoff to the South Node moving into Libra. Not only is it moving into Libra, but it will sextile Venus. So I don't know if they exactly sextile right now, but that's close enough for astrology. Okay, they're going to be sextile starting pretty much now. That's opportunity. The South Node in Libra is like, oh yeah, relationships, balance, fairness, justice, all of these things that have to do with other people. Venus is going retrograde to reevaluate maybe where our hearts are coming from, what our inner child needs, creativity, So there does seem to be a relationship flare to the next couple of months. And indeed, the next 18 months, because the South Node will be in Libra for 18 months. But it just so happens that as soon as it moves into Libra, Venus, the ruler of Libra, goes retrograde. So yeah, expect that to whoop. Okay. So this is another reason I say with Venus retrograde, the self-care, maybe rebranding. And rebranding, yes, in the branding sense, Leo, is about how you shine, how you're seen, but also rebranding of what your heart needs. You know what I mean? A rebranding of relationships, perhaps. That could factor in. Now, does that mean everyone's getting divorced? No. No, but there may be something that gets reevaluated either in your relationship with your partner or if it's to separate. Like, for instance, I just like to give for instances so that this doesn't seem so scary. Venus is retrograde in my second house of finances. Woo! Retrogrades are not all bad. Retrogrades are like a chance to check on things, a chance to evaluate them or rethink them, or just really sit with it. I mean, especially if you know astrology, you're pointed that direction. So, my second house, finances, yes, I do need to do something about that because I'm split in two. I have a band that I'm trying to promote with all of my music. That's also creativity. I'm making money doing my band stuff, my music stuff, but also astrology. How do I do both at the same time? How am I going to work that out? Because right now it's split and it's really weird, you know? But that being said, with my partner, we're also having to decide what to spend our money on because we have spent a lot of money investing in our music, recording an album, buying t-shirts. You pay all that up front. You know, so now we're having to figure out how to spend our money. We may need a new car. Do we want to, you know, get out of this house and get out of our investment here and move into something else? So there's the relationship flare for me. And even the South Node in Libra is in my fourth house of home and family. So it's very based on what I'm doing in my home life and with my partner and how much we can work together, especially on our values and what we need to do there. So there's a for instance, and that's what I'm talking about. Relationships do go through a reevaluation, but it could be just like how you guys are working it out together. And that's always a good thing. And the sextile to the South Node does indicate maybe that Venus retrograde is a time we become aware of what the South Node in Libra transit will be about, especially with the sextile. Okay, so that's going to last pretty much at least through this next full moon with the sextile, but Venus will be retrograde for a few months. Now, the other story, we got another story here, okay? It's a whole different story. And again, I still haven't moved the chart at all. We're still here today. And then I'm gonna have to get real nuanced to tell you what's going on every day because these things perfect and then they go away. Mars in Virgo, Saturn in Pisces. Nope. I almost forgot something about the nodes. Guys, that was not the end of the story with the nodes. Pluto square the nodes. Almost forgot about that. How could I forget about little old Pluto out there? Pluto in Capricorn, it's retrograde. It's been in Capricorn. Capricorn is about structure, it's about boundaries, it's about foundation, rules, regulations. Pluto is empowerment or disempowerment. It's also transformation. I think maybe that could be a situation in which we have to learn to draw boundaries or lay down rules to say, this is what's really important to me with regard to the eclipses. The eclipses aren't going on right now. I do think transits to the nodes, it's called being at the bendings, matter. Pluto is a generational planet. Pluto's orbit is long. It's like 240 years or something, right? So it's not like this doesn't happen. It happens a lot, actually, at least. And I have to see, probably at least twice in 18 years, if not more than that. I just don't know exactly. But it's not like never happening before. This is definitely happening maybe every 9 years. Let's just say that. That seems like a safe bet because the nodes return to this same place every 9 years. So it's not like something that I'm like totally like, oh, right now the Pluto square the nodes, Pluto's going to come transform everyone and Kali Ma is going to come down and burn your building down and your relationships. And no, I don't necessarily, I think it draws attention to the fact that we need to empower ourselves, probably also in government and things like that. I think we're all getting really serious going into an election year. And I think that's more what this is about. Looking at the people that you've believed, South Node and Libra, looking at the structures that have been built, and then deciding to do for yourself, North Node and Aries, for your own survival, to make sure you're staying true to yourself. Chiron's also in Aries. With Venus being in Leo, which is also a very personal sign and another fire sign, this is really focusing on the heart of the matter. What do you need? What is it that's going on? But this is a good segue to Mars, which is what I had started on, because Aries, where the North Node is ruled by Mars. Okay. So the North Node's now in Aries. We've got the North Node in Aries, Mars and Virgo. Mars is action, it's ego. It can be selfishness, but it can also be self-concern in a way that everyone should be. Ego, I don't, kill your ego does not sit well with me, because the ego is what allows us to survive, right? So I don't think killing it all the way is a good idea. That's just me. I'm a Scorpio. But Mars and Virgo can be almost the martyr, see, because Virgo is about service, it's about perfection, it's about getting it right, and it is sometimes anxiety. So Mars and Virgo can amplify the need to organize, the need to be perfect, the need to get your house clean and do the things that need to be done. But it can also make you anxious about it, right? So it's this two sides to the coin, just like astrology and life always is. It's always like, well, on the one hand and on the other hand. So then we have Mars approaching an opposition to Saturn. Okay. So I think that is where I'm going to go next. Let me make sure nothing else happens, because it happens the 20th. Yeah. All right. So I think we're going to be pretty quiet. There is something to be said about the moon being in Leo tomorrow. We're looking at Tuesday right now, because the moon will square Jupiter. The moon transits are very brief. They're like a mood that you're in. However, this moon does represent the new moon energy, because the new moon's in Cancer, ruled by the moon. So the moon's movements this month will be kind of a big deal, because the new moon was in Cancer, ruled by the moon. But it really is probably this week only. The sun will move into Leo, and I think that kind of dissipates with the moon being very, very important. The moon's always very important. I don't know why I just said that. I just mean, astrologically speaking, the sun's in Cancer and it's ruled by the moon. So the moon being in Leo, I just got way in the weeds, didn't I? Is going to hit Mercury and square Jupiter. There's Mercury square Jupiter for you. Me telling you too much, just saying too much, too much, too much. I just said too much. The moon in Leo square Jupiter can be a little too much feeling, almost like emotions are running very high. And with it in Leo, that's your inner child. It's hitting Mercury, so it's going to make our mouths move too. Hopefully not as bad as I just did, tripping all over my words. But that's Tuesday. And then we go into Wednesday, and the moon will hit Venus. Now that's much better, I think. No, I know it is, because Venus is a benefic. Venus is good. The moon hitting Venus, though, this time is going to draw attention to Venus retrograde. So this is, I guess, moon Venus is actually Thursday morning. So Wednesday really is quiet then, isn't it? There is a square to Uranus, but that's so brief. I think moon Venus is just going to be the little moment that comes on Thursday morning that just kind of goes, hey, tapping you on the shoulder. This is about to happen, or you're about to become emotionally aware of this. Keep in mind, the sun's still in Cancer, so it's ruled by the moon. The sun's looking to the moon for a little instruction, right? Moon's in Leo. Leo's ruled by the sun. They're looking at each other. So, Leo, Cancer dominating, that's what we need as individuals. What my emotional comfort is, what my inner child needs, my ability to be seen and create. Leo, Leo, Leo. So that's Thursday morning. And then the moon moves into Virgo. And then the Mars opposition to Saturn happens. That's where I was going with this. So Mars in Virgo, perfection. Remember, I was going there with it. Organization, the need to serve, the need to heal, the need to move and act on things that really need to be done. I like to call Virgo the pruners of the zodiac, the pruning sign. It's that really likes to get rid of things that are going to keep things from flourishing. So having Mars there is good. I mean, it's, like, yeah, we're taking action on that, but Mars is opposite Saturn. So Saturn is the brakes, right? Mars is the gas. I don't know where that came from, but I read it somewhere. It may have been Chris Brennan. Somebody said it. Mars gas, Saturn brakes. And I think that's a really apropos way of saying it. Saturn's in Pisces. I say that with a little bit of a jokey kind of inflection because Pisces is boundaryless, and you put Saturn, the planet of boundaries and rules and restriction, in this boundaryless sign, and what you end up getting is viral videos like that MFer is not real. You guys saw that, the lady on the plane. I mean, just like kind of strange instances, like, are we being deluded? Things are confusing. So to have Mars in Virgo, which really wants to get a hold of it and understand what to do, but Saturn in Pisces, which is like, just kind of like, oh, we don't really need rules. Things really aren't real, or this is real. Maybe it's not real. I don't know. Can be very tense and make you feel very anxious. So Thursday, not to mention Saturn can represent work as well as Virgo. So you've got Mars in Virgo, work, doing the things, getting to the details. Saturn in Pisces, which is like trying to, build a wall in the ocean, which I guess can be done, but it's hard, I'm sure. You're trying to hold back the entirety of the muses and the ether with Saturn in Pisces. But with work, Mars in Virgo opposite Saturn is like, you got work to do. And that can kind of feel lame. So Thursday is a day I've had on my calendar for a while. I've actually got a gig at a farmer's market. Hopefully I won't, work myself into the ground like I have been, because I've been humping it, right? And I think this could actually expose that. If you've been working too hard almost, then this will definitely say, put the brakes on. The other thing is Virgo represents health. So does Pisces. They're kind of the health signs. Mars can also be your body. So this Mars opposition to Saturn, watch your bones. Saturn rules the bones. Mars rules the head. It's just don't stub your toe or anything. Kind of be aware of your body that day. This would be a good day to meditate or to write a list or to control what you can in the best way possible, and especially to help control your own anxiety that could come up during this time. The other, possibility is that you could be thwarted. There could be an obstacle. That's Saturn. So just keep in mind it doesn't last. And then one thing we can look forward to is that not too long after Mars opposes Saturn on July 20th, we have Mars trine Jupiter, which will be very nice. So we get this little reprieve from it. I would even say today's the 17th when I'm recording this, July 17th, and I'm talking about Thursday, July 20th. It's probably already active. If we go back to today, Mars is at 4 degrees. That's within 2 degrees of an opposition to Saturn. So it's starting to build. It's like a bell curve, right? And it peaks on Thursday, the 20th. And then we've got, and that's, by the way, closer to nighttime, Thursday the 20th. And then the moon's joined. So our emotions are also there. We're aware of this Virgo area. All right, so Friday the 21st, let me pull up my notes and just make sure. Yeah, I don't think really moon is going to trine Uranus, moon in Virgo. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, Thursday also has sun trine to Neptune, which is going to be an interesting mix gosh, I thought I spent enough time on Thursday already. But you got this Mars opposition to Saturn in Pisces, and the sun still trine Neptune. The trine of Neptune is active. It's within a couple of degrees at the new moon today, but it really kicks up and is exact on Thursday the 20th. So that can feel a little spacey. And then meanwhile, you got Mars and Virgo trying to get a hold of reality and figure it out. So, yeah, definitely a big day. And then you've got Moon in Virgo not doing too much, except for this is Friday the 21st. I'm looking at the evening. Trines Jupiter, trines Uranus, those are definitely things, but really it's into the 22nd. So the 21st is kind of a nothing day, really. I mean, it's not a nothing day, but it's probably just going to continue, the Mars opposition to Saturn energy as the moon goes through Virgo. But then you got the 22nd. The 22nd is when things really, it's like, oh, something else. So you got the 20th. You may need a break on the 21st with the moon in Virgo. And then the 22nd, Venus stations retrograde. Not only is Venus retrograde, the sun is opposite Pluto. And that can, indicate that power struggle between rules and between the coldness of reality versus what we need emotionally, sun in Cancer. And then Venus is also going retrograde. So there seems to be a moment of awareness where we go, oh, something's got to change here on the 22nd. And not only is the sun opposite Pluto, the moon comes into a trine with Pluto in Virgo here and sextile with the sun. So those are good trines. Sextiles are good. This is why it's so complicated. Why I was like, I really took me a minute. I had to write notes for this next couple of weeks, because even in the first couple of days after the new moon, it's just like so much to explain, because the moon also opposes Neptune at the same time. It's just like, what? And we may be feeling like, what? Okay, not only that on the 22nd, not only that, but also, Mercury will square Uranus. Mind blowing. I hope you guys like my weirdness. Mercury is the way we think, the way we talk. Uranus is change, it's upheaval. It's, maybe an explosion of words. It's hearing something that shakes your world. It's hearing something that frees you. It's hearing something that causes you to want to change things. So you've also got Venus there turning retrograde. It's not too far away. It's stationing retrograde within 5 degrees of a square to Uranus. So Venus is included here. And then you've also got the moon has just trined Uranus. Okay, let me draw this. Let me show you how complicated it is. All right, you got moon sextile sun crossing over here, right? You got Mercury square Uranus. You got moon trine Pluto. You got moon opposite Neptune. Do you see all these lines? You got, what else did I say? Mars is still pretty well opposite Saturn. So, and then, oh yeah, sun trine Neptune, sun opposite Pluto. Look at that. This is, so yeah, the weekend. Hey, so glad that I'm, not really doing much but hanging out at a lake on Saturday. At least that's what I plan to do. Now, can my plans go awry? Look at this chart. Absolutely. Will it work out for me? Maybe there's some trines in there, right? So I would expect the 20th, 21st, 22nd is like so much moving, changing, new feelings, new emotions, new values, awareness that things have changed there. All right, let me clear all this out. The astro weather is crazy. Okay. Then the sun, oh wait, no, this is still the 22nd. The sun moves into Leo the same day. There you go. So we're at 9 o'clock, pretty much. The sun moves into Leo. There it is, 8:52. So Venus retrograde, sun moves into Leo, moon's trine Pluto, all those things. So not only is all of that happening, and then the sun changes signs. The sun is the thing we can see the brightest. It's the thing that gives us life. So the sun being in a different sign, it even governs our seasons, right? Our calendar. So you got that change that happens every month anyway, right? The sun moves into a different sign every month, but it's still a change. But then you also have all that other stuff going on the 22nd. So I would expect this summer to go and take a turn in some way. I do not necessarily think it's going to be bad. Do I think there will be challenges? Yes. Do I think there will be good opportunities? Yes. It's going to be a mixture, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. But the 22nd is pretty high on my days for the year, probably. Moon moves into Libra the 23rd. And at that point, Mercury is exactly square to Uranus. So again, we're just continuing this. Oh, tell you what. And then, oh, also on the 23rd, the nodes are exactly square Pluto. So I talked about that already, but it's exact. And then the 24th, the moon visits that. So that will definitely kick up this initial stuff I was talking about with the nodes square to Pluto, and that being balance of power or disempowerment, transformation, relationships versus my self-preservation. That's going on. And then you've also got, oh, a nice little sextile to Venus. Okay, well, at least there's that. Okay, that's great. So Monday, the 24th, again, is it going to be a challenge? Is it going to be great? I think it just depends on you and your chart. There is definitely a mixture. If you want to feel more grounded, I think creativity is a good idea right now with Venus going retrograde in Leo. Playing, being playful, reminding yourself to play, especially with the moon in Libra, finding new ways of creating. These are all going to be very valuable things the whole time Venus is retrograde, but maybe especially Monday the 24th, because it's a pretty big day. See, Venus just sitting there at 28 degrees. Okay. Then we've got, what else? What else? Notes, tell me. Moon in Scorpio. Okay, the moon's in its detriment. Yeah. In Scorpio. There's detriment and fall, and I get them confused. I need a chart up. I'm not a recall person, so forgive me. It's just not in its favorite place, the moon in Scorpio, because Scorpio is the depths of emotion. It's the dark ones that we might have. It's the ones we stuff down. Scorpio is also, it's ruled by Mars traditionally. Modern astrologers say Pluto. So you got both of those things in the mix right now. Both are being aspected, with Mars still separating from the opposition to Saturn. So the moon in Scorpio tends to be one in which we go inward and we see, we check on things, make sure that we're not hiding things from ourselves or others. With the moon opposite to Jupiter, that's big feels. If you are having issues come up that you haven't dealt with, they may come up during this period of time. So that opposition to Jupiter, I have late Tuesday night pulled up, but it'll be, and this is the 26th, exact on Wednesday the 26th. But I think the moment it moves into Scorpio, you're going to start feeling this stuff. The other thing that it's doing on Tuesday night is it's square to the sun. That's the first quarter square of the moon. So the 25th, 26th look very time to act, time to make a move on what the new moon in Cancer was about. Especially the moon being ruled by Mars and Virgo. Act. Time to do something about it. We can't feel this way. We can't feel disempowered. Or this is the investment move I need to make. This is the thing I need to do. It doesn't always have to be bad, but Scorpio does tend to suggest like kind of turning over the rock and seeing what's under it, right? All right. So then we get the moon opposite Jupiter the next day, exactly the 26th. I think the good thing about that is it's, it is big emotions, and because Scorpio can be the depths of emotion, it can also, be something that brings stuff up that maybe is uncomfortable. But there is a sextile of the moon to Mars in Virgo, and Mars is approaching a trine to Jupiter. So, um, writing it out, doing Virgo and things may move this along, organizing, planning, whatever's going on Wednesday, the 26th. Focus on Virgo and stuff, and it will help. There's opportunity there. And then we have one of the more, let's see, the 27th. What do I have here? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so the 27th, the moon really brings up some of these transits hardcore. The moon will oppose Uranus, and then it'll square Mercury and Venus, which are together on July 27th, which is a Thursday. So this one is an interesting mixture of I've got to change something, or the awareness that something is changing, but also the awareness that we may need something different in our Leo area, wherever that is for you. That has to do with inner child creativity, self-love, attention. Leo is about being seen. So the moon will square that, and there is a sense that we become aware of Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo, and what those squares are about, what those fixed squares are about. Yeah. And the conjunction of Venus and Mercury is good. I mean, Mercury is our minds, how we think, how we talk. It's in Leo. It's probably very playful, very creative. It will hit Venus, I think, exactly pretty fast on Thursday. Mercury is moving so fast, y'all. So fast. Yeah. So Thursday morning, it hits Venus. Gosh, it's moving so fast, I can't pinpoint it. At about 10 a.m. That can be a moment of extreme awareness of whatever's going on with the Venus retrograde. With the moon square to it at the same time and opposite Uranus at the same time, it's almost certainly going to draw attention to the Venus retrograde thing, whatever that is for you. And there will be a theme. You just need to pay attention. That's all that it takes. Sometimes it's just, what the gas station person says to you, or sometimes it's you read something that, okay. So then after that, I think the next biggest stuff is going to be July 28th. I mean, the moon's in Sagittarius. The moon in Sagittarius is great. It's ruled by Jupiter, but it's going to square Mars and Saturn, and that's kind of crappy because that's a T-square. But those are just moments of oh, I need to do this, or a moment of, oh, I'm feeling an obstacle here. So it will trine the sun, though, and this is Friday, July 28th. So again, we got that mixed bag of moon's going to square this obstacle, rules, structure planet. Probably that actually looks like it may happen overnight. Luckily for us, it happens just before sunset in the central US. But it will square Mars Friday, July 28th, which can heighten frustration. It can heighten the need to act, actually, around 1:52 p.m. So that's not, it's not going to be a very long transit at all. It's kind of done by dinner time. So it's the afternoon, July 28th. And then we have one other very important thing going on July 28th. That's Mercury moving into Virgo. Okay, so Mercury moves out of Leo, and all of a sudden it's in Virgo, which you know what that means. That means it's heading for an opposition to Saturn too. It's going to happen, I think, right after the full moon. I'll have to look and see. Pretty sure. But it being opposite by sign immediately, and especially within 5 degrees, you may feel the effects of Mercury opposite Saturn. So the Mars being action opposite Saturn was more like thwarting of our action, of desires, thwarting of things like that. The other thing is an awareness that we need to build an infrastructure to support that action. So that's the good part of a Mars opposition to Saturn. It's awareness of the other thing, an awareness that we need to get organized, an awareness. But Mercury is our mind's communication. And so the obstacles there may be more technological, not even joking, health related with it being Virgo, service and being a servant oriented, almost martyr anxiety thing with Mercury and Virgo opposite Saturn and Pisces, which just kind of really wants to imagine and create from the ether and just pull down the inspiration from the muses. So you do have that going on. So Mercury and Virgo, although it's important to note Mercury rules Virgo, so it's in its home. But the other important note about Mercury moving into Virgo, and something that may be a good thing to pay attention to, is that Mercury goes retrograde in Virgo not very long from now. Let's look at that date just so I can help you guys. Just in advance, Mercury retrograde, August 23rd. So in about a little more than a month from right now, Mercury goes retrograde at 21 degrees of Virgo. All right, so let me come back to the 28th where I was. And I think it is important on an ingress when a planet moves into to another sign, especially a sign that it's going to go retrograde in, there's a chance to pay attention. So that's good. And actually it moves in right about the time the moon square Mars. So Virgo is going to be hitting that day. Okay. But the other thing is right after this on the 29th, which is Saturday, we get the moon still in Sagittarius is going to trine Vino. Y'all, I'm going crazy. Venus, that's really good. It's going to sextile the south node, trine the north node, also really good. And Mars is going to start trining Jupiter. So we actually have a lot of trines on Saturday the 29th. Yay! That looks good. It's more toward dinner time that happens. There is a square to Neptune. Not so worried about that. You see the kite? That's what this is called, a kite. And it's when there's a grand trine and a sextile. And so it's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. Mars will trine Jupiter for a couple of days. It comes within 1 degree on Saturday the 29th. And then we get this really great gift with the moon moving into Capricorn, is that it's going to trine Jupiter and trine Mars. So we get a grand Earth trine. We have a grand fire trine and then a grand Earth trine, the 29th and 30th. So these are very good transits. Loving this. If you need to do something, need good energy, need good whatever, maybe good to wait till the 29th and 30th for this. Not going to lie. Just something tells me those are going to be the most opportune days of this next couple of weeks. And you may see some completion with the moon transiting Capricorn from this, last moon cycle. So it's good to think about. And then even into the 31st, which is Monday, thank goodness, we still have Mars trine Jupiter. So this is like a 3-day, maybe 4-day event, really, if you start a degree away. Yeah, that's going to be through August 1st. So that's really, really good. You got Mars trine Jupiter from the 29th through the 1st. So take advantage of that. What is Mars trine Jupiter? It's the ability to take action on whatever Jupiter and Taurus has been about for you. So on our self-worth, on abundance, organizing, doing the things that you need to do to make the money, advancing yourself. This is very, very good. Don't sleep on this transit. Now, the only thing that I will say is July 31st, you may come up to a moment in which you have to kind of declare your boundaries or assert yourself. I say that because the moon will hit Pluto, which is square to the nodes, but that's just like, again, a brief moment. But it does, especially with Pluto being at the bending, it does kind of like put an exclamation point on it whenever you have a transit like that. And then August 1st is the full moon in Aquarius, and I have made it, y'all. I've made it. Now I will go through the rising signs. I'll record those videos. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I know there was a lot, and I tripped over my words, and I'm wearing, flannel in the summer, so I probably look crazy, and that's all right because that's how I feel. I got a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? I just appreciate you guys tuning in, and I hope this helps at all. And if it does, like, share, and subscribe. I think that's what you say. That's what people tell me to say in the comments all the time. They're like, say, like, share, and subscribe. So if I tell you, maybe you will. And also go watch your rising sign video. It may take a couple hours for those to get posted because I've got to run and do something else in between. But I will post this and then later on post the rising sign videos. For those, I'm going to try to hit on the Venus retrograde themes for everyone. So if I wait till in the morning to get those put up, that may happen because I want them to be a little longer than normal. Yeah, I think it's going to have to be. With all the stuff going on, your rising sign videos may come out in the morning. They need to be a little longer. I need to spend a little more time. So I will post this video and then count on the rising sign videos coming up tomorrow. It'll go through the new moon, plus it'll go through Venus retrograde, plus the Mars and Virgo opposite Saturn and Pisces, plus the nodes moving, all of that. It will be a mega rising sign video for, let's just say, the next, it's going to definitely give you a preview of the next month at the very least. Okay, guys, thank you so much for hanging in there with me. And I'll talk to you soon. ecstaticastrology.com if you want to book with me, or yell at me, send me email, ask me questions, whatever. I got to work on that too. I'm supposed to have a new website. It won't work. The old one's functioning, but hopefully I've been redesigning my website, getting that ready. Maybe even going to launch a class here soon. So there's stuff coming up. Pay attention. Not only to me, but what's going on in your life. Yeah, signing off. I think that's it. Mwah.